On this edition of Talk Rodeo, we're catching up with the director of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame and Cowboy Museum in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Mr. Kent Sturman. And for most of you folks know that because of COVID restrictions last year, we couldn't have the induction ceremony. So the class was announced, but we're unable to have the ceremony. So we're going to give those people that were announced and going into the hall their props this year. And so the induction ceremony is coming up on July 15th through the 17th at Colorado Springs. And Kent, it's just nice to be able to finally have a get together and give these people the proper dues that they had coming.
Absolutely. We're just so thankful that we're able to schedule the event and the restrictions are lifted more and more each week, and we hope that continues in that direction so that when we're able to have the inductions this summer, it will look real close to the way it's always looked in the past. We still have a few restrictions and we're still, expecting some, but at least we're able to have the event and get it on the books and get our planning and then get this tremendous class inducted because they're so deserving.
Well, let's refresh everybody's memory and start out with, of course, anybody who knows rodeo knows the name Cody Ohl, of course, world champion many times over, and of course, all around cowboy. And I mean, Cody's resume speaks for itself.
Absolutely. And, is a tie-down champion as well. And came up through the ranks of high school and college and just a tremendous champion. So he's well deserving of this honor and he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
And it wasn't all that long ago that Cody was still competing out at the NFR, just a few years back.
Absolutely, yeah, and our technical requirement is that they're retired, and which he's done, but that definitely, he's a young man still, and to be selected for a Hall of Fame at that age is a tremendous honor, and it just speaks to his talent.
Well, we're talking with Kent Sturman, the director of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame and Cowboy Museum in Colorado Springs, Colorado, about the induction ceremony for this year's class, July 15th through the 17th, talking about some of the other inductees and, of course, a great bull rider, and he has given back to the sport of rodeo as a well-known judge now, and we're talking about the great Butch Kirby, just a part of rodeo all of his life.
Yes, he has, and he's a world champion, and now he's a judge, and like you said, giving back to the organization. He's passing on that expertise and knowledge, helping train upcoming judges, and he just is supportive of the organization and even the Hall of Fame. He golfs in our tournament and things throughout the year, and again, just a well-deserving individual.
And speaking of well-deserving, a name that is synonymous with the sport of rodeo and stock contracting, Jim Sutton, and of course Sutton Rodeo Company, a family organization and just rich in rodeo history.
Absolutely, and this is, if I'm allowed to have favorites, this is one of my favorite inductees. I've known the Suttons for many, many years when back in my high school rodeo days, and they were the stock contractors of the national high school finals for several years, and worked very closely with them, and just have stayed close to them since. And it's just a tremendous family, and Jim and Julie are just awesome people, and they've got kids and grandkids taken over and coming up through the business, and they're just a exemplary rodeo family, and Jim deserves this honor tremendously for everything he's done. Kent
Sturman is our guest here on Talk Rodeo, director of the Cowboy Hall of Fame and in Colorado Springs, Colorado, talking about the induction class for this year's Hall of Fame. And of course, it is a class from 2020, but they're going in this year, as we all know, because of COVID restrictions. Another lady that anybody who's been in a rodeo office has probably worked with this lady, the great rodeo secretary, Sunny Deb Backstrom, voted many times Secretary of the Year and still going strong.
She is, and I can't even count how many times she's secretaried the national finals and major rodeos across the country and San Antonio and many of them. And she's she knows the rules in and out. She knows her job very well and does a tremendous job. And it's an honor to to honor great people like her who do so much to make our sport better and better.
And it's quite an honor for her, of course, because she's going in, but Mom is also there too. So, I mean, that's kind of a neat story behind that with Sunny Deb.
It is. And, we don't have too many of those family connections within our inductees, but there are a few, and that one is awesome. They're a tremendous duo and have done so much over the years, and it's just really special to see her be inducted after her mom.
Well, we're talking about some of the people going into the class of the Hall of Fame this year, Colorado Springs, and a notable, and a lot of people don't associate him with rodeo, but of course, Randy White, but great cowboy in two ways, of course, rodeo, and then, of course, in the NFL.
Yes, and he, with his connections and work with Western Horseman magazine, who, that magazine promoted and reported on rodeo, many, many years. And Randy also had, a position on the Hall of Fame board in the past, and just from all parts of his life has been a supporter of the sport and the Western way of life and our Western heritage. And it takes all those kinds of people to make our sport great. And, the promotion and the media work that he did through Western Horseman just really got our story out there to many people. And he's, again, well-deserved honor, and he belongs here at the Hall of Fame.
Kent Sturman, our guest here on Talk Rodeo. Kent is, of course, the director of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame and Cowboy Museum, Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the induction coming up on July 15th through the 17th. Some other great ones going in the livestock category. Anybody who's been to a rodeo or follows the heritage of rodeo is G65 graded coconut, and just a legendary piece of livestock for the sport of rodeo.
Absolutely. And, how many times Horse of the Year and the honors that horse has gained over the years, and the cowboys that he's bucked off and carried to the winner's circle both, it's just, that's the unique aspect of what we do here, is that the animal athletes are as honored and recognized as the human athletes. And when you talk about bucking horses, this is one of the best.
And of course, just two words to say, pretty much sums it up here for the rodeo committee, Ellensburg Rodeo. I mean, you can't say enough about what this committee has done over the years, and definitely Hall of Fame worthy.
Absolutely, and one of the best up in that corner of the world, and in that cluster of the two or three states, there's just some tremendous PRC rodeos, and Ellensburg is the cream of the crop up there, and it's an honor to put them in this year.
Well, we're talking with Kent Sturman, director of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame and Cowboy Museum, about this year's induction class coming up on July 15th through the 17th. One of the other ones we want to talk about is the WPRA's legendary barrel racer, world champion, and great ambassador, the legendary Martha Josie.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? She's just, she's done so much for the sport, but she's, just a great champion. She's been to the NFR over multiple decades, been on the Olympic rodeo team, just now her and her husband, what they do to support and help young people in the sport and coming up through the ranks of barrel racing, and with the schools and clinics that they put on. And, she's just a champion through and through. And it's just really special to have her here.
Well, we're talking with Kent Sturman, director of the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. This year's induction class going into the Hall of Fame, July 15th through the 17th. Of course, on the 15th, the legendary golf tournament. And I mean, this thing, when you started it out, could you imagine how it's grown? And I mean, you guys fill this thing up pretty much every year, don't you, Kent?
Yeah, we do. And we certainly hope this year is no different. COVID hit us pretty hard, like it did everybody across the country. And we're thankful to be able to have our events again, but we need people's support. So we hope that they come out, and that's going to be on Thursday, the 15th, and it's going to be at a new course. We've relocated, and it's Cheyenne Shadows there on Fort Carson. So there's a military connection, and it is a beautiful course and a beautiful view of Cheyenne Mountain, and it's going to be an awesome tournament.
And then, of course, coming up on Friday night, the 16th, you have the Cowboy Ball. Everybody's there. Great dinner, guest speakers, the auction, stuff like that. So lots of things going on that Friday night as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cowboy Ball is going to be held that Friday night, and it is a fundraiser for us. We will have the auction and live and silent, and then we honor and introduce the inductees and have some entertainment and some good food. And our hope is that we can have it here at the Hall of Fame, but with social distancing, if that doesn't change, we'll have it at another location here in the city, but it will be here in Colorado Springs.
Well, we're talking with Kent Sturman here on Talk Rodeo and going over things coming up for the Hall of Fame induction, July 15th through the 17th. Of course, coming up on Saturday, the 17th, the big ceremony, the induction of our class of 2020. Give us a rundown on what time it starts and kind of how things will go for this event this year, Kent.
Okay. We'll start the morning off about having a private breakfast with the inductees where we'll go over all the procedures of the day and how it will flow and that type of thing, and then they'll meet with the media for interviews, and then the ceremony starts here at the Hall of Fame at 10 a.m. and it will be outdoors under our tent, and because it's outdoors, we won't be as restricted as we would be inside, but so it'll be hopefully a great weather day, and the ceremony will start at 10, and we'll introduce each inductee and talk a little bit about them and have a video that introduces them and their career, and then they'll accept their honor and give a little speech, and we're hoping then after the ceremony we'll be able to serve everybody some lunch.
And then, of course, a good friend of mine, great rodeo announcer, Tim Fuller, going to be your master of ceremonies this year.
He is, and I worked with Tim many times at the National High School Finals Rodeo, and so I was glad to reach out to him and was really happy that he was able to accept and be with us. And it's always good to work with your friends, and he's a great friend of rodeo, good friend of mine, and we're happy to have him.
Well, Kent Sturman, our guest here on Talk Rodeo, and I know you're busy, so we're going to wrap things up here shortly, Kent. But just talk. I know that we had this in July for many years. Then it got moved a little bit later in the year. Now we're back in July, and we kind of coordinate it with the Pikes Peak or Buster Rodeo there in Colorado Springs. So always a great weekend, the Hall of Fame weekend, great rodeo, and just a great time to just make a vacation and spend the time in Colorado Springs.
Absolutely, and it will be with the Pikes Peak or Buster Rodeo, so people can come to town and go to the induction and see some rodeo action too as well. And we will take the inductees to their Saturday night performance, and they'll be honored there as well. And I know it's a busy weekend for rodeos all across the country, but we're hoping that everybody can come here and participate in the induction festivities and see some good rodeo action.
Now, if people want to come to the event, like you said, there might be some restrictions. Is there a place that they can go to find ticket information, itinerary, and everything like that, Kent?
Yes, they can go to our website. We don't have all the stuff in place yet. We're just getting all that in place. Got the hotels booked and different things, and we're getting some other information together. So it'll probably be another week or so before we have it live on the website, but there will be information on the website with links to tickets and to enter the golf tournament and attend the event. So just keep watching, and we'll put it out, an announcement, obviously, when we have it posted, but just keep checking our website.
Well, I'm disappointed that I can't make it this year, but I'm out on the rodeo trail, but always a great time when I have had the opportunity to go to that. So great success again this year. Congratulations on us finally being back to able to have this event, and we're excited to see how everything comes out. And you guys do such a great job there at the Hall of Fame. So congratulations on getting everything back and rolling for this year.
Thank you. And I need to thank my staff, too. They've worked hard. We got approved for a 5-star business here in El Paso County, which makes it a little easier to even have the event. So hopefully if things keep going in the right direction, we won't even notice that COVID happened while we're here in July. So come on over and support this amazing class and just honor them for the champions that they are.
Well, I always appreciate the time, and I'm sure it's going to be another tremendous event. So thanks again for the time, Kent.
Thank you for having me.